Next question is on YouTube. That's from Sylvia Wanjanru. We'll go with that. I'm sorry, Sylvia. And Sylvia asks, hello, my name is Sylvia. I'm from Kenya. And how often do earthquakes occurs in New Zealand, and which town are most and least affected by them? All right. So Sylvia, I'm just going to get started on this one. Sylvia, earthquakes happen every single day in New Zealand, multiple times per day, but you usually don't feel them. Most of the earthquakes are very mild and you don't feel them whatsoever. And the really big earthquake that happen in New Zealand are only happening maybe every 5 years or not even. They're kind of rare, and New Zealand is really well equipped for it.
The thing is, that's a question for Mother Earth, really. We are on a fault line, right? So there are volcanoes in here, earthquakes do happen, and it is really difficult to sort of, pinpoint and put actually drop a pen there and say that's the place that the earthquakes do happen. I've lived in New Zealand for just over 7 years, and I felt one earthquake a couple of weeks ago, and that was a mild one. So as Robin said, they do happen quite often. However, you don't naturally feel them all the time. Historically, that in the north of the South Island and Wellington area, they've happened over the last 10 years. That's where we've had the bigger ones lately. However, New Zealand is very prepared for that. So most of the buildings have been built expecting earthquakes to happen, right? So those are the three that happened. Robin just pointed one in there, and that's Christchurch, that's Kaikoura, and that's Wellington there. And about in 1930s, there was one big one in Napier as well, in the Hawke's Bay, which is in the North Island here. So the fault line goes right below here. So the Southern Alps are here. So that's all what Mother Nature created for us. It is very difficult again to point where the earthquakes will happen, but New Zealand is safe, and it's you mentioned something just before we were talking.
So the thing is that yes, earthquakes happen all the time in New Zealand. Actually, I was just checking on an app called GeoNet that if you are really scared about earthquakes, you should download, and it tells you when the earthquake happened and how many and what's the magnitude and all of that. So just to give you an idea, in the last 24 hours in New Zealand, we had 5 different earthquakes. Obviously, none of them was felt, otherwise you could see it in the news. And they only happen, they happen mostly in those areas right here. Now, New Zealand is actually world leader in earthquake prevention. They are so good with that there are actually other cities that come here to actually check out how they build buildings here to withstand the earthquake. There's also a lot of education around, so everybody in the country will actually tell you that you stop, drop, and roll. And that's what you tell the kids. You get that, you get that in cartoons and all of that. So everybody knows what to do when that happens. But again, it happens so rarely. And because of all those reasons, if you compare similar sizes earthquake that happened, for example, in Christchurch, in some other part in the world, like for example, Southeast Asia, the death toll of the earthquake is like 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. That means there is like 10 times or 20 times less people dying in an earthquake in New Zealand than anywhere else, and any other places in the world, which is quite amazing. It's also due to the fact that we have such a low population, but I'm just going to slide that in. So New Zealand is pretty safe earthquake-wise. Yes, they do happen. Yes, they make the big headlines, but I don't think that should be a deterrent to your trip. It's not that much. But if you are absolutely terrified of earthquake and that's the thing that keeps you awake at night, Sylvia, when traveling in New Zealand, try to avoid this area right here. So don't go to Christchurch, don't go to Kaikoura, don't go to Wellington, and don't go to Napier Hastings.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. My tip to you, Sylvia, is do not think. Clear your mind. There won't be any earthquakes. Just come to New Zealand, enjoy your time, and just don't think about that, because it is not likely that it will happen.
Yeah, and to be fair, if that's the one thing that stops you from coming in New Zealand, I mean, it's, you know, you have more chance to win the lotto, I'm pretty sure, than actually experience the earthquake here. All right, so I hope that this answered your question, Sylvia. Thank you very much for taking the time to ask us your question on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Honestly, the only reason why we're doing those videos is because you guys keep sending us questions. So comment below, like the video, subscribe, do all of the things. And especially if you do have some questions and can't make it to our live videos, make sure to comment below.